Welcome back to Spirit Squared. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Tonight we're here at the Humidor in Tyler, Texas. We're at our 33rd episode, I believe it's 33rd. So grateful to have the Humidor as a sponsor for us. It's a great venue. We've got a lot of people here tonight that are enjoying smokes, and want to appreciate Blake Young and Virginia Young for being sponsors to our podcast. Along with the Vault, they're a sponsor for us. We've got Rex Consulting, Red Construction, and we also have Hoop Holler Package Store in Gun Barrel City, who's also a sponsor. If you need any libations for the weekend, go see them. They're so much better than the big package stores. You're going to get great service, one-on-one experience, and great prices and great selection. So go down there. It's worth the drive from Tyler to go see them. So tonight, we've got Smoking Aces Mobile Cigar Lounge. Thanks so much, Cole and Travis, for joining us tonight and to talk about you guys' business.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get started and talking about your business, let's talk a little bit about what we're having to drink here. So I'm having a little bit of the Fiddler. Big props to ASW. Love their brand. It's their double oak. Chad Ralston is a good friend of mine. We've done quite a few picks here in East Texas of the Fiddler. And then you guys are having the EO Oven Dia de los Muertos, which is a fun pick. I get a lot of citrus on that one. It's pretty mellow too, so
Perfect timing.
a little starter pack.
Have it, yeah.
For sure. All right, so you guys, obviously you have normal lives throughout the week, but you guys at some point met during Bourbon Society meetings. Is that right?
You know, Travis and I joke all the time. We have known each other a long time, like all the way back to high school, junior high. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And we, to this day, cannot pinpoint when we actually became friends. But you're correct. The Bourbon Society is when we became close and started hanging out all the time. And that's actually following the Bourbon Society meetings where the idea came to fruition for sure. But yeah, that's when we really started hanging out all the time. Andrew, Griffith, and I started the Bourbon Society.
Right.
It was a spin-off of our fundraiser for Longview World of Wonders.
Okay.
It was Bourbon and Bow Ties.
Gotcha.
We've been doing that for a few years, and basically it was people giving us feedback. Hey, this is a once-a-year event. We love it. How do we make this into a monthly deal or a quarterly deal?
Right.
And that's when the society really came alive, January 2018.
Okay.
We kicked that off. And
Was there a blueprint that you looked at that was similar to that? Were there Dallas groups that were kind of?
there were definitely was some out there in 2018. We didn't look at another one going and say, hey, we want to do this. Really, for us, it came more from we started having people ask us questions. Once we had been doing Bourbon and Bow Ties for 4 or 5 years at this point, they said, oh, you're an aficionado. You know everything there is to know about bourbon. Tell us about this, or what should we do for this event?
Right.
And we realized that and we enjoyed it, but we had not done a deep dive on any other distillery other than the Texas ones that we were close with. We knew all their stories by heart, but other than that, we were still pretty naive, and so that kind of gave us the opportunity to have monthly meetings and do the deep dive, and so it was fun.
Yeah. How did you learn about talking to Travis here? How did you learn about the Bourbon Society?
So I've been living in Dallas for a little while, and recently moved back and was opening. My day job was bringing a hotel on board. It was the Hilton in Long Beach.
Okay.
And Cole had reached out and was like, "Hey, we're starting monthly bourbon tasting pretty much." And I was like, "Man, that sounds a lot better than trying to cram all the bourbon bow ties into one night and not remembering half of what you tasted."
Right.
Let's
The second half. The second half for sure.
It's a little fuzzy.
Right.
And so I was like, man, that sounds perfect. And trying to find some more friends, moving back, seeing who all was around that had kind of the same similar interests as we did. And that's how I got involved, and I think I've been the first one, and we just kept going from there.
Right.
So
because we didn't really know how to advertise it either, or kind of explain what we were doing. And so as we have new people show up,
It's an educational
yeah,
crew.
educational crew for sure.
Right.
We had a guy one time at one of our meetings who, after the second or third tasting, he got up and walked out on his way out the door. He said, if I wanted to know what color the distiller's underwear were, I'd have just fucking asked him. And then he walked out. And, like, he clearly had no interest in learning about the distillers. He just thought he was there to drink, and that's not what we're doing.
Yeah. The first couple days, the first couple meetings, you're kind of feeling it out like, what are we doing here? I just want to do some samplings. Or we're doing blinds.
So we were doing blinds. So in the beginning, we did a lot more blinds than we do now, because one of the things we really wanted to see was, hey, we've got some high dollar spirits that we're buying for these fundraisers or for these special events. Can people really tell the difference?
Right.
And it was really interesting that first year on a lot of those blinds we did. Man, we do a wild turkey blind fly, and you have guys in there that when we pulled that first bag, it had wild turkey on it. I believe that's what we were
I
drinking.
never drink wild turkey.
Right.
It's horrible, and that was one of their first bits. They loved it the best.
My favorite is the whole granddad. It's in the batch, and you're like, oh, I hate that stuff, and it's like your top.
But you put a second out of 6, like you must not hate it that much.
Yeah.
Take
Or
the label
my
out.
favorite is like, can you find the labels? That's my favorite. That's my all-time favorite one that we've done, because I've been part of the Dickens Society for probably 3 years now, 3 or 4. And I was. So the group got recognized by a magazine. Which magazine was it? You remember?
Is it Gear Patrol?
No. It was bigger than that. It was a national magazine.
Well, we were in Texas Monthly. We were
Texas Monthly.
We kind of went on a run there
Yeah.
where we started getting a lot of traction. But a lot of that had to do with we were one of the very few supporters of our Texas distilleries.
Yeah.
When we started Bourbon Above Texas, we would ask distilleries to come show up at the event. We would tell them, hey, look, here's the deal. We're going to pay for your hotel. You tell us what you want us to buy, what you're going to be tasting. We're going to buy it from our local liquor store. And if they don't have it, we're going to make them get it through the proper channels. So all of those early distilleries, they were like, man, no one treats us like this. Everybody's making us pay $2,500 to show up. If we bring our product, y'all treat us like royalty, yeah, we'll do it.
Right.
And that's why our event, all the way through when I finally kind of retired and turned over the reins, there was always the owners and master distillers from all of these distilleries that would show up telling their story. And it was for that reason. We treated them.
And that was 28, that was kind of the time where distilleries started growing, where you started seeing an explosion of distillers, especially in our kind of backyard, that were kind of trying to start it, make it. You had the Balcones, and you had Garrison Brothers. That was kind of it for a while, but you started seeing a lot of breaking ground. And Witherspoons was coming up, and all those guys.
Yeah, and back then, this was back 2013, 2014, even Garrison Brothers, they were fighting the fight of people telling them, oh, you're not bourbon because you're not from Kentucky. They were, in their first couple of years, they were doing a lot of education on, hey, look, and, yes, you can make bourbon in Texas. Yes, this is a good solid product. But, man, it was great. We went through those first few years for anything. We became close friends with Donis and Dan down here, and a lot of the guys in Balcones. And, we got to see things that other people didn't. Again, just because we supported them before anybody else.
Yeah, our first podcast was with a guy who was a historian for Balcones. And we got to tell the story of kind of the fallout, rebuild, and all that good stuff. They have a cult following. I mean, either love them, or you're kind of on the fence on about them, or you hate them. I mean, it's a very unique product, but it's worldwide, like love, especially their single malt products. And we're blessed to have so much distilling happening in Texas. And really great products too. I hate that Clonell, hopefully they get rebranded, somebody buys them, and they get the word again.
We used to talk about in the first few years, doing a lot of those blinds. was Garrison Brothers. And, you know, they were the only Texas bourbon at any bar you'd go to around here. And when you would order it, you could immediately tell it was Garrison Brothers or were they trying to push something else also. And I think that that's something to be proud of, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. A lot. It's pretty robust, and it's always got mixed to it. You know, the only thing about it now is that the price. A lot of people are like, hey, there's a lot more options. So that's why they created the honeydew and some other things to take the time. And everybody's got it, especially this year. You're starting to see a lot of ingenuity for different products. You know, trying to do the Amarana, trying to do the honey, we're doing double oak, Spindler's doing it. People's range is so wide now. There's so many different offerings. Texas, probably one of the biggest states as far as, other than Kentucky, to offer. I think Texas probably.
Well, and so my sweet wife and I, we kind of hit the road those first couple years when we were doing the fundraiser, and we drove to every single distillery. Because you imagine, it's like anything else. You mail a letter, 8 weeks come out, or you pick up the phone call, you're never going to talk to the right person. So we just started showing up at distilleries, and man, it was awesome to go make that little Texas road trip before, you know, the Texas Whiskey Trail even became a thing. But I think what was so neat for us at that time was seeing how different every single distillery was and how the region affected the flavor. And, you know,
The water they use,
everything, yeah. And it wasn't just one size fits all on their process or aging. If you look at, you know, we went to one and we rolled up and they've got everything out there in the shipping containers behind the warehouse. You know, it's like, hey, whatever works.
right? And you still at this?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And your grades are here?
How much with this one?
I mean, there were parts of like Buffalo Trace that I was, where they're doing, open match, and I didn't think they would do that big of ribs. So I'm asking the door guy, I'm like, hey, what's up with this? Huge batch, huge. Like, what do you have some Canadian beef for? And they're like, well, it just goes in it. And it's done. So I mean, it's all over, man. It's all over the place. I've been to a bunch of different distilleries too. I've been down to Houston, South Texas, and it's just people that I love visiting distilleries and talking to the master distiller and versus the salesman. You know, because they're going to give you the gadgets, and you're going to get to see the logs, and you're going to get to see the grains they use, and you're going to see the mash, and it's passion, and they all have quirks, and they all kind of like doing their own thing, and a lot of them don't like talking about future projects or what's the next thing. No, I'm doing what I'm doing just fine. So and we've been on a couple of trips together to different places. Still awesome.
That to this day, I would say, was one of my biggest surprises.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to say that I was prejudging a little. We're walking into a Austin distillery of what this was going to look like. And it was a newer distillery.
Industrial compound.
Absolutely. Man, I will tell you, they did an excellent job. Every single person had that distillery so knowledgeable. You know, sometimes you've got 3 or 4 people, you know, leading the crew and guiding the ship, but then the trickle down effect is not there. Everyone we talked to that day knew what was going on and knew what they were talking about. So that was a fun trip.
And true, great class. Like pounding their own grains on site, which was really cool. And then going to the bottling area. I mean, they do everything, which was pretty awesome. And Garrison Brothers is right there with it. But other than that, I haven't really seen that type of thoroughness. And then you have, key players like Nancy involved, and they really did it right when they rolled it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you talk about the thoroughness. I mean, to this day, Don's he's got a big book of all the water that he has sampled And anyone who says that they've got better water than he's got right there, he'll come up, he'll do water samples. He will challenge anybody out there if they're trying to say that their limestone water or whatever kind of water in their reach is better than what we've got in that part of Texas. So it's a passion.
I think Kippersall has some pretty interesting water that they like you've heard the story about like how they found the vein of water that wasn't supposed to be there but was there, kind of just searching around, almost like fracking. Found the vein and I can't remember his name. He tasted. He's not with us anymore. Yeah. He tasted, and he's like, "This is it. This is it. This is what we're gonna do." And I think their product is pretty unique. I'm a big fan of it. They're a backyard too.
And a beautiful menu.
Yeah, for sure.
And they were one of the first ones.
It's an adult flavor, for sure.
And they were one of the first ones that started their own distributor, with the three-tier system. They peeled off and had a single company. And not a lot of people know this, but our first Tyler Burnside chapter president was Jacob Taylor, who was the guy who actually did that for the year. So he worked out there and kind of handled their sales, and then he's the one here tasked with starting a separate company to. They didn't feel like they were getting the representation in the liquor stores they needed, so they started their own company to start pushing the product, and then now Jacob's one of the guys at Greenlight.
Okay.
So,
And Ray Lee did that too, down at Close. They started their own distribution. I like visiting there because it's not a whiskey, it's more of a rum, but they do great products. Again, we're blessed. We can beat this nail pretty hard and come up with anecdotes of why the justification's there for us having such a great time. Let's talk about barrel pits a little bit before we get into the nuts and bolts, guys. While you're here, because we're kind of talking a little bit about like how we know each other and some of the things that you've done prior to this project. Let's talk about barrel picks. Is that
while we're talking about it, I guess I need to.
Yeah. This is one of our barrel picks. This is a JT Mellick. Shout out to Mia with JT Mellick. Love her. She's been on the podcast before. It's an all rice whiskey. So basically, they took a crawfish field, a rice field, and they harvested the rice and made the whiskey. A beautiful whiskey, really. To me, there's some barrel picks that they've done that stack up against the big boys from Kentucky for sure. This is a big thing. I don't know if you were there or not. Were you there?
I don't remember.
We were at McClellan's house and his old house, which was a former mayor or one of the representatives from big house, and we were at the big table. And Mia comes in and brings samples. And it was set up really nice because they had barrels lined out. And it's the most people I've ever had sample with me for a barrel.
And all three chapters.
Right, all three chapters were involved. Yeah. I remember a lot of people, there was a lot of commentation, but it was very uniform, and we all agreed on the barrel, which makes it very easy. Because you can have dissension amongst four. I think we had probably 15 to 20 people.
Yeah, there's probably 15 people there, and I think every single person was surprised that it was there trying for the first time. Man, I did not expect this rice whiskey to taste like this. Like, nobody thought that flavor was going to be that bold,
Right.
And all the different barrels that we tried. I mean, there was a lot of variations, and I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely it's a great product. Luckily, being from Louisiana, I had some exposure to it, and luckily I was able to get connected and found Mia. She does a great job with her social media too. I don't know if you've ever seen any of her stuff, but she does some funny stuff.
Bourbon Society, flight books.
Did she? Oh, sweet. Okay. Very cool. So let's talk about barrel picks real quick. What was the first barrel pick that you guys did Bourbon Society?
So I think the very first one we did was Patal when it was still in grapevine.
Yeah.
So,
Chief
that's
Ghetto, right? Chief Ghetto. Yeah.
And we did that in honor of us adding our Nacogdoches chapter.
Yeah.
And so that was our third installment of the Bourbon Society. And so for people who don't know the story of Chief Caddo, the Caddo Indians had a tradition that basically, if the chief had more than one son, they would fight to the death. And whoever came out alive would beat the next chief in the lead Caddo Nation. And so for the first time, the chief came to the tribe and said, whoever dies, whoever doesn't live in this fight, our tribe is going to lose our second most fiercest warrior. We cannot afford to lose these two ones. You know, for the first time ever, we've got two true natural-born leaders here. They're incredible warriors. I have a proposition. I suggest that we divide the tribe. One brother will take one tribe and walk a day. The other brother will take the other tribe and walk a day. One son was named Natchitoches. One son was named Nacogdoches. Obviously, our third chapter is in Nacogdoches, Oklahoma, Texas. To this day, any lumberjack will tell you one of our biggest rivals. We had the largest trophy in any sport in the world that got traded on an annual basis. It was our totem pole. That whoever won the football game every year, the totem pole, Chief Caddo, would go back and forth between two universities.
Stephen Austin.
That's correct.
And who else?
And Northwestern. Yeah, Northwestern.
I know what. Gotcha.
Which Nacogdoches is an absolute beautiful town as well. Two incredible tiny little towns that are just absolute gems. But yeah, so we started the third chapter in Nacogdoches, and I love seeing how all three of our chapters are really different on the makeup. And I think it's so fun now that our third chapter has its own cigar lounge. One of probably the coolest meeting places.
Agreed. 100%. I need to get over there to do that.
Big leather chairs. Now, I will tell you, we did play a prank on all the new members that would go for a while, because it's right downtown, but there's a back alley entrance that looks kind of seedy. And so we used to tell them that there was this certain knock, and it was a real elaborate, made-up knock. So every time they show up, they have to use it. Yeah, absolutely. So we can always tell the new members were coming in.
Love that. So you guys do Chief Caddo. And then I think I know what the second one is, but I'm not sure. I'm not positive. So listen here. One of my favorite picks of all time, all of East Texas, Axe and Oak, Fight Club, was an absolute smasher. I have lined that up against some big picks and blinded it, and it crushes. There's not many out there anymore. Luckily, I have one open and one sealed. It's one of those that I have to hide from myself because I will drink all of it. It is so good. I don't know how it was picked.
If you are looking for a reputable builder with a proven track record and a client base to back it up, give Red Construction and Development LLC a call. Red Construction offers full design build services for new construction, custom homes, and remodeling with free site evaluations. They have an A+ rating with the BBB and are proud members of the Tyler Area Builders Association, Texas Association of Builders, National Association of Home Builders, and the Lindale Area Chamber of Commerce. Red Construction and Development LLC stands behind the exceptional quality of their work and have the expertise, the resources, and dedication to deliver the results you need on time and on budget. To learn more, give them a call at 903-630-8660 or visit them online at redconstructiondevelopment.com.
Hey, podcast listeners, are you in need of some top-notch libations to elevate your next gathering? Look no further than Hoot and Holler Liquor Store in Gun Barrel City, your go-to liquor store for quality drinks. From smooth bourbons to crisp wines and everything in between, Hoot and Holler has one of the largest and most diverse selections in East Texas. Planning a special occasion? Let our experts guide you to the perfect bottle. You'll receive excellent customer service not offered in the big box chains. Visit Hoot and Holler today and let the good times flow.
You would tell them how we used to twist Jason's arm.
Okay.
So Jason was coming out.
Jason used to come down.
And he would always
And
bring
he would always bring a just a
random bottle
with
some brown
yeah,
water in it.
some brown water in there.
Oh yeah.
Mystery juice.
I have one at home.
Yeah,
He
it's like,
was
I tried
like,
this.
he
Do
was
you
like,
like it before I tell you what's in
he
it?
was like, hey, this one was done on my stove. Give me a heads up. Like,
So
I covered that bottle.
After probably
we finally
Jason, what's the deal? All right, what's the deal? What have you been bringing us? And he said, well, we only made 8 barrels the first year.
obviously with
And obviously with 8 barrels, for us to kind of project out what our spirits are going to look like, it's a big process. We can't get rid of them because they don't taste good. And we want to see where we're going to go. And they are really a science project.
and
It was brother. It was brother, right?
Well, so his brother was in the Texas.
So
He's in Colorado. He's in Colorado. Yeah. So that one he did with the group of buddies up there. And we finally just told Jason, dude,
next time you come out,
the next time you come down, we're just going to see how you you don't give us one of these 8 barrels. So he let us do the tasting. And it was just kind of like this one. Every single person. Barrel number 7. That's such a cool flavor. Such a cool, that mouthfeel. And you could pick it out of a crowd. Anytime. It was that same way. Everyone agreed.
So funny story.
Funny story with this though.
I volunteered to go
I volunteered to go there and pick it up.
and
I've done something like this before.
one of our buddies had
One of our buddies had moved to Longview. One of our first members had moved up there to the Springs. And so Kendall and I planned a trip to bring up there to stay with us, hang out with the kids. And on the way out of town, we were going to pick up the barrel on bottles.
So we do it.
Whole trip went smooth and great. Everything's beautiful. As we're coming back across state line, I tell my wife, hey,
Just want to let you know.
we may or may not be over the legal amount of alcohol one person can have coming back in the States. So if we have to get pulled over,
Tell that officer
that you were so excited when we found this barrel. We brought the physical barrel to the back of her Nissan Armada on a rack.
You just tell them that we were
antiquing and filling some great in our living room. And hopefully you won't notice the 20 bottles back there in the back of the car that we're sitting out with. I've done that. And it's okay to do this as long as you prove that it's not for personal. If you have a list, then you're
not covered that trust.
not covered that, trust me.
Because I had to do that a couple times. Barrels that we did with the whiskey club that didn't distribute to town. They just didn't. Fiddler was one of them.
Tumbling Dice was another one.
So they delivered it. Go pick it up. My hometown. Pay for it. They have a list. So I mean, it's legit.
And that's what we had
tasting 2 months ago. Kind of talk. What's it like as a distributor? Can you elaborate on the
it's so interesting.
It's so interesting.
We've got that law in Texas.
We've got that law in Texas. So many other states.
Colorado being one of them.
Colorado being one of them. By direct.
Kentucky beat.
Cool.
All right, so we did Hold Out, where we did the Spy versus Spy, which was pretty cool. Were you at that one? I know I was, because I left pretty happy. Jennifer was there. Daniel was there. Vaughn was there. That was a fun one. They really did a good job. On that too. It was like we were tasting from the barrel. They were leaving from the barrel. And it was wasn't like a 20-gallon barrel. It was a 15-gallon. That's why we did it. That's why we did it in the 375. It was such a fun pick to do. Because you're sitting there in the distillery, from the barrel, and it's going to be a fit. And I just thought that was so much fun. And then we got access to Still Austin, which ended up being a girls' day. Like a whatever, but I mean, part of the reason we got access was because they weren't even good at barrel picks at the time. I just remember going, hey, put us on the list.
We did a balcony.
Oh yeah, we did about.
Oh yeah, we did about Tony's.
That one with their
That one with their heritage.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
That's one that
That's the one that I remember the other day. You had that big picture.
Yeah, backed into their
backed into their mailbox.
Yeah, I just had my car.
I just had my car for like 5 days.
Back it into the
Back it into their mailbox.
$4,000 for the
$4,000 for the damage.
It wasn't due to the taste.
It wasn't due to the tasting.
Completely unrelated.
Yeah, I was not related.
Yeah, I was not related.
They just put those random
Yeah.
mailboxes around.
Yeah. Put the mailbox in the middle of the parking lot. Keep telling her all the time. Like, what in the world?
I learned that the mailbox.
I learned that the mailbox was stronger than the car.
Because I was picking up the.
So I was picking up the.
Oh man.
Well, I'll tell you, I would say we didn't talk about our trip
To Denison,
to
Texas.
Denison, Texas.
That was probably one of the first trips.
And you know,
When we went down there,
I don't think anyone
really had any kind of
expectations for
how it was going to go. They
how it was going to go. They basically
just kind of promised us,
just kind of promised us,
y'all come by,
y'all come by,
we're going to do a tasting
we're
night.
going to
For
do a
the
tasting.
listeners,
For the listeners, what distillery?
This is going to be one of
This
those
is going to be one of those
Yeah.
because
Denison is
Denison is his Irish.
yes.
So we did like two.
So we did like two.
No, but
but Ironwood was the key.
was the
Yeah.
destination.
What's the destination?
That was the destination. Yes.
So the brothers had invited us down to see our
to
trip.
come see our trip.
They had invited us down
They had invited us
to come
down
see the distillery
to come see the distillery
we had done a
because
tasting
we
with
had
them.
done a tasting.
And they're like, hey, anytime you want to come.
Anytime you want
So
to come.
we booked
So we
an
booked
Airbnb
an Airbnb that could house.
a bunch. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I know there's probably 20 of us. Yeah. I don't know how many folks in that house. But
We went down there.
we went down there and had an absolute
it was
blast.
one of
And
those.
it was one of those.
They started us off.
They started us off with
old-fashioned,
Bloody Mary,
Yeah, sure.
and then by the end of the night, they literally would let us try any barrel
in their distillery.
in their distillery that we wanted to try.
Anywhere.
Any beer.
There came a point where
there came a point where I told Rob, I said, hey,
dude, I can't.
dude,
I know you're describing.
I know you're describing what we're tasting here, but I'm not this
We're doing this.
We're doing this spirited disservice by me drinking it.
It was incredible.
Those guys know their stuff.
Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fun distillery. But
I've got Shannon on.
Coming on again
just talk about
to just talk about
which would be
Ireland,
really really
which
fun.
will be really
And we'll
fun.
probably do
And we'll probably do like we do a live deal up in Mineola.
at the Beckett Hotel if you've been there.
Hotel,
Know
if
about
you've been
it.
there, I know about it.
And it's fun. It's a great venue.
It's a great venue.
We do it in like a
We
big
do
ball.
it in like a big ball.
And we have music.
We
We
have
kind of do like a
music, we kind of do like a
15-minute segment. And we
minute
kind of
segment, and we kind of
have time to kind of
have
pass
time to
it.
kind of pass samples
It's
around.
all the distillers
All
I've had
the
on the
distillers I've
podcast
had on the podcast
have loved it.
have
Bean
loved
was
it.
one of them.
Bean was one of them
I
where
played Elysium
I
music.
played
during
Elysium music
Oh, yeah.
during the
little breaks,
little breaks,
5
5-10
gives them
breaks.
opportunity.
Gives them opportunity to kind of mingle.
Crowd. I normally have
Crowd. I
the
normally have
sponsors
the
come on,
sponsors come
but
on.
occasionally I'll have
Occasionally I'll have
show up.
show
We'll do
up.
like a charcuterie.
We'll do like a charcuterie.
Sorry I didn't roll out that.
Sorry I
many
didn't
cards
roll out
for you,
that
but
many cards
This
for you.
is just
This is
fun
just
data.
as fun.
All right, so
All right, so
boom, we're in 2018,
boom, we're in 2018,
and you guys
and you guys
are
are
out of Bourbon Society
at a
meeting,
Bourbon
right?
Society meeting, right?
And
that's correct. So,
And
you're like,
you're
hey,
like,
let's
hey,
start a business.
let's start a business.
I'd actually gone down
I'd actually gone down to Austin
and did
and
a rolling
did a
class.
rolling class.
Rolling class.
Rolling class.
I was getting into cigars.
Oh, rolling cigars.
Yeah, rolling cigars.
Rolling class. I just pictured you like peddling bars or something like you do up in Nashville. Rolling class.
So I went down there to one of our brothers and did a cigar rolling class. It was a day long. And
They actually had me on
they
their
actually had me on their website. And
rolling on their
rolling
stuff, talking
on
about
their
class
stuff,
and
talking about the
everything.
class and everything.
And came back,
And I was sharing that.
Andrew Griffith,
Andrew Griffith,
we had just got done with one of our
just got done
flights.
with one of our flights.
There was actually
There was
Blanton's in this
actually
flight,
Blanton's in this flight.
and so we
So we
couldn't let that just go to
couldn't let
waste.
that just go to waste.
Right.
And we're sitting on the back, tailgating the
I
truck.
pulled out some of the
I
cigars.
pulled out some of the cigars that I rolled. Keep in mind, since you're talking
This was still the original.
the original.
When we always like stocks.
We always like stocks.
All we had
All one had a
mouth. And that's what you said.
That's what you're missing today. Now, but you could tell back then it was so business. It would just sit on your side.
Well, that's what started.
Well, that's what started that. Sure.
Yeah. And I'm passing these out
I'm passing these out to Cole and Andrew. We're sitting
very
down here.
successful
Very successful.
flight.
Flight.
We see a food truck right from the garage.
Right from
Wine
the garage.
Spirits where
Wine
we
Spirits
were
where
doing first.
we're doing the meetings
And
first.
Cole actually looks to Andrew
myself
and
myself,
Andrew
and Andrew was
Cisco at the time.
consultant at Cisco at the time.
And
And
I bet that guy just made
I bet
killing
that
something.
guy just made a killing somewhere. And
Holding one hand with bourbon,
holding one hand with bourbon,
one hand with a cigar.
one hand with a cigar.
We should do something.
We should do something.
And me and Andrew looked at him and not really realizing
Not really
he's
realizing that
having this moment
having this moment,
putting the bourbon and the
putting the bourbon and cigars together.
Yeah, and both
Yeah,
of us
if
no,
both of us were
no,
like, no, not a food truck. That's horrible.
Stay away from that.
Let's stay away from that. He's like, no.
He looks at us
And he
and
looks at us and he's holding one of those. And we're like, oh,
yes.
yes.
And it's kind of ironic.
And it's kind of ironic. One of the
factors to
main factors to our idea
So,
we thought, man, if
you're at downtown.
you're at downtown and you're out there sweating, if there is a mobile bar that's air conditioned, you can walk in, get a cocktail smoke. Dude, everybody's banging down the door in there, and to this day, that has been our biggest stress. That's the big stream with tons of baking.
That AC is struggling.
Yeah. So you guys are adamant on you guys start talking about it. How did it get legs? How did it start?
Next thing you know,
So we're talking about this after we as with both streams.
After a flight.
and a tester before the flight started. So we already had juices going. Yeah, can't be blown up fun.
So we'll let the audience peek behind the curtain here. So
You asked me earlier.
you asked me earlier, for notes and doing career. I'm an off the cuff kind of guy, so most of our society, I can regurgitate information just like that. So before every society meeting, I consume massive amounts of information before this meeting, so that I can regurgitate it and tell the stories of the distillery. So keep in mind from about
I've been drinking this.
I've been drinking
9:30 that
9:30 that
night.
night,
And this excellent
and this excellent idea came to fruition.
Travis,
Travis thought it'd be a great idea to just go buy an airstrip and cocktail at once.
Mind you, Cole had a, I don't know, 5-month-old at this time. When we decided that it was time to launch this in a full-blown,
actually going.
going to do it, instead of just thinking about it. And it was July 4th.
Then I drove up.
I found one on Marketplace. It's Airstream.
What's the timeline between the epiphany and
So
Bird Society started.
Bird Society started about January.
In Walmart.
And probably so probably March, April maybe. Before the heat actually kicked in, and we were looking around into Airstream and
so if you were looking exclusively for airstream. They have a look of class.
Exactly.
So keep in mind,
Yeah, so keep in mind, so now
we use Airstreams for all
we use Airstreams for all these mobile bars.
the traps.
There was only two other mobile cigar companies in the U.S. They both were using Airstreams at the time. We did not know about either one. That would have made our life a whole lot easier. So Palm Beach, Texas also has Shivers,
Which is a natural
they're getting huge traction now. Jerry World, they have a trailer up there. They've kind of actually stepped back on their Airstream location. They have one in their foyer in their location. They're out there, and so they've been going for a long time. And so that was one of the funny things that we still get today is, oh, sure, we're out here, and this music video, this and that, or whatever. And these kids run up like a snow cone, and they're like, hey, sorry, 18 ups. And yeah, 21 up, change now, yeah. And so they're like, hey, we thought you overshipped. We appreciate it. But no, we're a little different. But yeah, so we're looking for specifically an area we're watching this particular one. We had on our couple lists that we're watching, and it dropped from 15 grand to 5 grand. And so Kev's not on the truck immediately. That's a big swing. Most of the ones we're looking at are in that 15,000 $20,000 range. They may drop a grand or two, but this one's 60%.
Motivated sellers.
Yeah. So, there. How far away was that? 2 hours. 2 hours. Yeah. Show up at this guy's house. We're here to see your Airstream. We look it over. I think we can work with this.
Here's $5 grand.
Here's $5 grand. And the guy's like, $5 grand? What the heck are you talking about? I posted it for 15. And we pull it up and show it to him. And he is. Yeah.
His grandson.
His grandson had got on there.
Dropped the price.
And dropped the price to get it out of the yard.
Yeah. So I thought it was a no-go.
Well, I was like, well, just wasted all this time.
And he's like, you know what?
And he's like, you know what? It's been here this long. Y'all drove all the way up here.
Cheers.
Hitch it up.
Cheers. Hitch it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a big sport.
Yeah. We thought. Now, so when we were doing this, we going through the demolition. When we bought it, the only thing that was not functional from 1974 was the front nose and
Slide dings,
stuff like that. The shell didn't have too many dings. There was some window that was missing. And but he had the window. He hadn't riveted it back on. So that was one of the things that we fixed. Got it a little more watertight. But the table up front had been ripped out. And he was getting ready to demo it all out.
Yeah, you were going to demo it anyway.
We were, yeah. So, whatever. We get in there, Yellow Shack carpet for nothing, sitting for us, still there on the floor. And it rained. Had me love it. So we start ripping everything out. And we hired some extra help to help the brunt work. We're pulling some stuff out. They're over there just yanking away. Moving it around. And we go all the way down to the skeleton.
We're going to go up from
Bones up. Yeah.
And
not knowing
then we probably should have
kept some of the
Yeah.
skins.
For
We didn't have any records or plans or anything to go off of when you're remodeling an Airstream. And so those skins that we took off were metal. And we went through probably, if I said 100, way under what we actually went through drill bits. Drilling out rivets inside this Airstream, taking it all out. Every 3 inches, there's a rivet. Yeah. And so we're drilling them out.
There was
multiple times where Travis and I, we finished working that day.
and finally got this thing
completely demoed.
and then we'd realize
We got everything out of it, and we're down to that skin. Yeah, and we're like, oh man, we're done.
Yeah, spray painted.
Yeah, spray painted. We're going.
Yeah, and then we realized, oh dang, we gotta get the wall out to come back in with wooden walls.
Yeah.
And that's when we did all those rivets. Probably took us 2 months worth of every single night after work.
Drinks in there,
Drinks, drills. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we were like, oh, well, now the sides look great. Start from here, and then we look down.
And then we look down and the subfloor was just like,
yeah.
oh, well, now we gotta take that. That's for sure what I thought at first. Like subfloor.
And with RVs, what do you carry around? You carry around water and gray water tanks.
And so
60-year-old.
yeah.
And
Baked it. Oh, I bet it was.
yeah. And so it took
The only way to get that
The only way to get that out, by the way, was
To take it out.
with the salt.
we're having to
Yeah, we're having to cut into that because it's made into the frame.
so to get that
So to get that plastic
hand that's been holding
hand that's been holding all the
Extra.
and we get in there with salt. That's where I released favorite part.
I can see why.
So then get everything ripped out, and then we start looking at the outside. We're like, well, it's dull.
You know, there was a tree hanging
There was a tree hanging over it. And we picked it up.
Yeah, sure.
The clear coat on top.
Shine it, dude. You gotta shine it, baby.
Yeah, we were like, oh, we gotta take the clear coat off.
We're in Texas, baby.
And we tried taking the clear coat off for about 2 days, and we were like,
This has got nice
patina.
I remember we did it by hand when we finally figured out the process, and we got one panel that was working like
6 hours.
6 hours.
It was started so
And then we started sobering up, and we were like, no, this ain't gonna work.
We need some higher bill.
We need some higher help.
So keep in mind, at some point in this whole process that is taking us months, I still have not told my wife. And
The airstreams in my house. We're doing it all in one place.
yeah, there's a lot of trips to Travis's house. So we're on vacation, and I start pitching the idea of family, and my wife's like,
There's a lot of details. Cole. You don't normally think about the details.
You're fly by night.
So for a whole business to come on board,
And a less than a year old Berkeley Society is also running.
Small channel list.
small channel, less year old, baby.
My wife's like,
My wife's like, it's not the right time. It's not the right time.
Sorry.
To which my sister shows her a picture of the airstream, and that did not go well.
Well, typically hiding those things from a wife is
It's gonna explode at some point.
explode at some point.
Like that.
Very much.
That's exactly how that went over.
It's roughly the same. Spaceship crap.
There were probably some
There were probably some choice words used.
There were conversation.
Hopefully behind closed doors. Aren't you having a great time, buddy? Now you don't get. Don't worry. Say it's been great.
Thankfully, my family's not for shenanigans, so they were like,
Yeah, like, where did this barrel show? Somebody gave it to me.
Now it's in our garage.
Now it's in our garage. Really?
We'll tackle it a little bit.
For decoration.
and I will say, you know, a lot of guys have wives that will go on shopping sprees. There's like an arsenal of shit you can just throw back in their face. Unfortunately, my wife is not like that. She's one of the rare, just easy going, happy with life. So yeah, there was nothing I could throw back at her. It was just anxiety to it.
So when Cole came back from the family came back from vacation, and he did not come over to help me for a month or two. I had to go like, hey man, like this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of stuff.
50% of it.
Yeah, like what's going on? And he's like, oh, yeah. I had to tell my wife. And I said, what?
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Shoot's gonna find out.
Shoot's gonna find out eventually.
Yeah.
Going to Travis. Yeah, well,
Suspected
suspected something.
I was hoping
I got put on the naughty list too.
I bet you did.
I was hoping she could find out when it was done. So that things could be like, oh,
Let's get this finished product.
yeah, absolutely. But our 2-week reno did not work out like we thought it would.
As we
So,
said,
as we said, it turned into months.
fast forward to the very
Fast forward to the very end of the reno.
getting close to
We're getting close and we decide, you know what?
Hey, it's probably time we start.
Hey, it's probably time we start looking at events.
We're done playing.
We're done playing with this thing.
Let's get some events on.
Let's get some events
Whoa,
on the
whoa,
calendar.
whoa, wait a minute. You're jumping. Wait.
Yeah, cart out of the barn before the
That's right. So, like, we can demo. Okay, you tell your wife, which is a great story. And now Travis is on the house.
2 months in,
He's
he's
2 months in. He's asking you, like, what's going on? All right, well, that's great.
You gotta build something.
You gotta build something out.
That's fair.
Okay, so what would that look like, and how did
some of the things
what
that
were
you
some of
guys
the things
considered
that you
you
guys
started
considered when
building
you started building
this
this
out? Because I'm sure
out? Because I'm sure
you were standing in there
you were
going,
standing in there going, all right, well, we can smoke here, we can go there.
What would be on your list? If you were doing this, what would be on your list?
Number one, air conditioning. Gotta have that. You gotta have some ventilation.
some
Some
there has to be some
there has to
distance.
be some display.
You gotta make it feel
You gotta make it feel
of
cool.
some kind of like
Of some kind of like
either
either
humidor
like a
or some
humidor of some kind somewhere.
Is there a restaurant?
Is there a restroom?
No
We
restaurant.
ripped those tapes out.
That's not a deal
You
breaker.
gotta have some.
You gotta have some loungers, you know, some space for that. Probably enough for maybe 4 people.
Or you
In
could
our-
fit-
Or if you can
Great.
So we're also in the south. So what's important for a large majority of the year? If we're going to an event, and it's in like or skies,
In the
we gotta
fall,
have some TVs for the games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which means you gotta have
Which means you gotta have a satellite.
you gotta have
And you gotta have a reservoir for ice.
and you don't want people looking in. You don't want people looking in. You know, so
Limo too.
we gotta get all the windows tinted out. And so we went through a couple different helpers. Flushing out the inside.
Let's get to the plan. We were checking all the same boxes that any normal guy would say. We're gonna do this. We gotta have, as you say, very firstly, we gotta have AC. We gotta have ventilation. Those were the easy things to figure out.
Curved walls going up, help with ventilation. There's already vent fans up there. We upgrade those. We upgrade the AC to something this century. And we just start trying to figure out where we want to stand, where we want people to sit,
What our occupancy
we really kind of want.
Then we start looking at
Then
different
we start looking at different colors,
different things.
different things. We want
Floor, we want carpet,
different things like that.
different things like that.
We start
Picking
just
and pulling
picking
and
and
seeing what
pulling
we
and
can get.
seeing what we
So
can
we
get.
come to the conclusion
We come to the conclusion that we want
wrap around seating at the front,
wrap-around seating at the front,
wrap around seating at the
wrap-around
back.
seating at the back.
Lobby door is
The
going to be.
door is going to be, if you walk in, you can see that. That's the photo.
Thankfully,
Thankfully, my father was a
So
cabin
he
guy,
made us a
so he made us a beautiful
Each stick,
Cedar, blacktop, storage underneath.
and then
And then as Travis said, we felt like all right, we're going to be entertaining and serving, so we need a bar of some sort. What's that going to look like? It's going to be big.
So we decided
we got wraparound
let's
seating.
do a granite
Let's do a granite bar right down the middle.
Basically,
That
people can
basically people can check up the door, either sit in the front or sit in the back.
But
But they can stand at this bar while we're cutting, while we're lighting. It's going to be
Yeah, it's speakeasy.
Yeah, and we'll probably even have so many customers in this thing that we'll not have a private area in the back where people can hang out, not have to worry about coming in and out. So let's put a wall at the back of this granite bar and close off and there, TV behind there, so there's somewhere able to eat.
he'll kind of
Enclose that back area for private
hangouts or whatever.
hangouts or whatever they want to do.
So we're thinking
Multiple different avenues of cigar lounging,
and we rock and roll.
and we rock and roll with that, get that up and running.
we
we
heritage.
heritage
the Patel brothers were getting into their design and build phase. So we reached out to Initial. Hey, you've got the software for CAD programs and some of this stuff. How would you feel about kind of our vision into the CAD program and bringing life to it? So we got planned for doing this. Initial was great. Initial actually helped whip up the design, everything that we threw at him. He was able to put in there, and then he turned us on to one of his guys that helped finish out his main store there. They had just finished their store, and Zach had done a lot of the project work in there, so he brought him in to kind of help us with some of the nuances. And he was the one who actually figured out the video. So this whole process, Travis and I, we're not afraid of building anything, but we never took into consideration how are we going to make the curve. Yes.
That skin that we shouldn't have thrown away, but we did. How do we get past that?
So there's a special wood called Mindy board that it allows the wood bends one direction, and so it allowed us to replace all of our metal skin with that wood skin so that we could paint it whatever color we wanted. We could hang stuff on the wall if we wanted to, and that really gave the Airstream its life.
We finished that whole thing out.
We got TV at the front, TV at the back. When it's sports season, we do have the satellite that we can set up. When it's not sports season, they have the US report, so we can do wedding pictures or wedding pictures, do advertisement if we're doing that. But the last hurdle in the build-out was right over the front and back window. Not only is it's not just curving one direction, it's the cap. And so there's a lot of curve for that. Mindy board is just not going to do it. It's not going to solve that problem. And we knew it was going to be the anchor at both ends, and we wanted it to be a focal point, so we wanted to be something. So at one point,
Cold said, hey, we need you hoppers.
sexy, right? Yeah.
So we got
The plug back.
Actually, one end was more expensive than the original Airstream.
and we were like,
And we were like, let's back up a punch.
Right. How about nickel?
Yeah.
Or how about,
Aluminum. That
aluminum that looks like copper?
So we finally settled on we wanted that dark mahogany in there. We wanted to feel like sure. And so we decided, you know what, we're just gonna
make this wall
ourselves out of
wood strip.
to make it where it feels like you're just like walking through the woods, smoking a cigar.
And it was really cool.
And then when you think about placing all together on a structure,
Metal as the backing, nothing to really
Anchor to.
You had to get really creative. Because then you're also going to be running 6 miles an hour down the block. And so
a lot of glue.
we tried everything. We tried glue.
Tank foam as just to help. At one point, we finally just ripped everything back down.
And then came in and put
Strips of penny board around the studs.
and metal plates in there so we can screw. That's finally what's got it to where it is today. However, every trip, Travis will make sure that we've got some nail guns on hand to replace any boards that fall out.
80 miles an hour
down I-20. So now can I tell the story of the first band? Are we there yet?
Let me ask one
Let me ask you one question. How long did it take from
when you purchased it
when you purchased it to the final product?
I think the first event
was November.
So
it's almost a year,
It's almost a year.
right?
You said April. You bought it in July.
We bought it in July.
Finished it
First of July. Late September. I think it's
We went into this thing in 2 months.
we thought it was.
We really thought. Oh, you were budgeting.
Yeah, we were going to take off from work, spend 2 weeks working on this, do it, knock it out, get it on the road, get it rolling. And then quickly when we got it in demo, we realized this isn't going to happen in 2 weeks. So we
plan for long term.
planning for long term.
You know. Yeah, so we looked at.
Yeah, so we looked at
Before it was finished.
before it was finished.
Sounds like a bowl.
Sounds like a bowl. Well, you gotta have a deadline. Put everybody up against it. Study for the test, don't just study in general.
Right.
So,
Jeremy Cox was not to be on nice enough to be our first booking. And I'm embarrassed to say Havana themed birthday. Yeah, Havana themed birthday party. Havana Cuban themed birthday party. And again, at that time,
cigars are.
they had not made the turn like you know, there's a lot of venues that we were going to in the first 20 years that would tell us you can't come here. We don't allow smoking. We're not going to be cigarette throwing out in your grass. We had to fight that same battle that we've seen all these Texas stories. Right? But so for this event, a Havana themed birthday party was pretty original. No one's doing it.
Vault Arms is your premier destination for all things firearms. Extensive selection of handguns, rifles, shotguns, and accessories. Knowledgeable staff to assist you in finding the perfect firearm to fit your needs. State-of-the-art gun range equipped with the latest technology for a safe and thrilling shooting experience. Take advantage of our professional shooting instruction and training programs suitable for all skill levels. Host your next group outing, corporate event, or bachelor party at our spacious and secure shooting facility. Committed to promoting responsible gun ownership and firearm safety. Fully licensed and compliant with all state and federal regulations.
The Humidor is your online cigar retailing headquarters. Our experienced staff has spent years finding some of the best cigars from around the world to sell to our customers. If you're looking for an online cigar store that can help you find your next favorite smoke, welcome to the Humidor. We began the Humidor because of our deep appreciation of the finer things in life, a good conversation with friends, an aged whiskey, and, of course, a fine smoke. That's why, in addition to selling premium cigars online, we also operate a brick-and-mortar cigar lounge in Tyler, Texas. Our lounge is crafted to provide a classic ambience with modern sensibilities, and we've spent time ensuring that smokers and non-smokers have an enjoyable experience, whether they're there for a drink with friends or to enjoy the game.
I'll tell you the story real quick on Fiddler. Yeah. Before you finish it, I'll sit you up. So, we do a pick of the Fiddler, okay? And I found out about them through a distributor in Louisiana. Okay? So we get the samples and we love it. Okay, this rendition is not the rendition that you normally get from them. They do a Georgia Heartwood finish stain, like a cooked stain, and then they ship it, or they put it in the barrel, and then they let it sit for a couple weeks, and then they bottle it. Well, anyway, I find out about it from this distributor. He sends us samples. It's a Louisiana pick for the club. So we taste it, we love it. Well, they don't distribute it to Texas. So they have to ship it to a business in Louisiana. So we pay for it online. They ship it to a business. It was a friend of mine, or a friend of my dad, who's a plumber. Okay. Ship it to his business. I go pick up the barrel and the whole house. Sound familiar? Yep. And I drive it back, and it's great. It's a big hit. It's the Joker bottle. Okay. I still have the barrel on my back patio because I had everybody at the distillery sign the barrel. All employees. I wanted every employee to do it, and then I signed it when I got it. And so it kind of concluded everything. It was my second barrel being called. Well, then I started talking to the sales rep, Chad, and I'm like, hey, we got to get you to Texas. Like, this is phenomenal juice. Like, you got to be here. And he's like, well, by that time, I'd done a couple more barrels, and I knew some distributors, and so I'm like, hey, talk to this guy. He can help you. Next thing you know, they're in Texas. So, kind of help them. Of course, Texas is a huge state. Well, later on, a couple years later, they're rolling. They're starting to get some notoriety in the East Coast, and not so much in Texas or in central U.S. Well, I met a guy in Kentucky that was very influential in a lot of the distribution and stuff like that. I linked Chad up to him, and now they're distributing in Kentucky. So, thankfully, Chad's a nice enough guy to where when they have new releases like this, I'll get a box. And, every month and a half, maybe 2 months, I'll get a box. And I shows up and I'm like, oh, what the heck is this? And that's part of that, kind of. I don't expect any of that stuff. I just appreciate the fact that everybody knows I'm going to share it. I'm going to get it in. He sends it to me. I don't know if I should be telling that, Chad. He sends it to me, and I bring it up here to places like this immediately and say, hey, look, try this out. You're going to like it. And he sent me this one. It was a double coat, which is fantastic. And he sent me a number that they just something dry, and looking for feedback. So
this is something that it doesn't matter what industry you're in. One person that is a mile deep like you with these guys is worth 100 people who are in industry.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what all of our Texas distilleries, they really made that turn on. They made loyal customers who were all in, and they were Gears Brothers fans. They were outcome sites. They were gonna drink it or buy it at all costs. They're gonna ask their local liquor store where it's at, ask the mall where it's at. And when you've got someone like you that's promoting the brand out here and saying like, oh, and just try this, see what you think. Dude, I'm telling you, I had it immediately before you start talking about it. I recognize every time we get like a special bottle, there's that mouthfeel that's immediately different than everything else you're tasting. This has it.
Yeah, for sure. This one I shared the Emerald. I brought it up here, it's gone in like 2 nights. This one I was like, I think I'm going to drink a little bit more of that myself. Because it's pretty special, it's pretty good. Alright, so take us back to Havana. Yeah, it's your first booking, right?
Right.
Talk a little bit about your booked it before it's finished.
Yeah, so we're doing teasers on Facebook at this point because I don't even think we have a website. And we're kind of putting it out there. So Mallory Cox calls us and was like, hey, saw that you got a beer show coming out. We want to book you for an event. My husband has a birthday coming up. And so Jeremy Cox, one of the PR guys, he's having this fan-themed birthday party. And the plan was we were going to be there by the time he showed up to this surprise party. And all his friends were going to be there, and it's going to be this big exciting thing. However, the day of the birthday, monsoons. Yeah, and we had gotten up at like 5 o'clock that morning to do the finishing touches on the Airstream, right? I think we can now divulge. We have not figured out that wall yet, the caps at both ends. We still just couldn't make it work with all the windows and everything going on. So we literally, at this point, we're like, we got an event today. Come hell or high water, we got to figure this thing out and put something together. So we spend the whole day like running through different plans and trying different things. And finally, we are 2 hours before this event. Dude, we just got to figure it out. Just do something. And even if we have to take it off
and all through the day, it takes a village, right? And so throughout the day, we start picking up extra people. And Andrew Griffin starts coming out. He gets there probably late morning. He ran everybody on the route. He comes in, starts helping us. And then my wife shows up, starts helping. And before you know it, we got 5-6 people out there. And
my father-in-law's there.
His father-in-law, and he may have been the one that gave us insight.
Yeah, and finally was like, hey,
why don't you just have all these guys?
So, yeah, unfortunately, we kind of knew the direction we were going. We had started seining wood, but by the time we figured out how we were going to do it, we didn't have beer enough. So at the end of this thing, 45 minutes before the party, we've got one person cutting up wood on the saw, handing it to the next person who is seining it, which is clearly not drying, and then is handing it to the next person who is standing inside the airstream screwing the wall. So birthday party, we're supposed to be there at this point. You know, we're on the phone like, not right, we will be there any minute, so sorry. You know, finally we take all the wood we had cut and stained and put it in a bucket inside, and Travis starts driving. And I am in the airstream.
What's the statute of limitations on?
Yeah, we're past any kind of laws on this. Travis starts driving. I'm in the airstream with an air gun, a battery, nail gun, putting all the rest of the wood on the two end caps. And so he literally pulls into their driveway and is backing in, and I'm still, and then
I started talking to him. I'm like, oh, which way do you want it? We got the door on this side. We got to.
And to this day, I think that's how Travis and I operate. We work best under pressure. If you give us a year to get something done, we're going to get it done in the last 5 minutes, before it's due. But everyone had an absolute blast. They loved it. We still have
Photos from that night. Like,
we had 12 women in the back of the airstream. They were smoking cigars, having an absolute blast at the birthday party. And we still keep his signed $5 tip in there every event we go to. So Jeremy Cox's signature on it, so they can have a little piece of history in there. But speaking of the women,
yeah, we've done wine nights where no cigars were even smoked. Where we'll put on whatever they want on the TVs, and they may just tell us to turn it off and sit back there and drink wine and talk. And I mean, we've done such a wide variety of different events with it that it has become part of just so many different memories in so many different pockets. From weddings to golf tournaments to friends, family Thanksgivings. Where I had to back it through a pinhole over here in Tyler, and was not positive I was going to be able to get it out until the next day. But everybody came out and started helping me back it up into this blind alley, one way, with cars parked everywhere around it. So it's definitely been a lot of fun seeing people's reactions to how big it actually is.
Yeah.
So different events that we're going to, they're like, oh, here's the parking spot for you. And we're like,
31 feet long, not counting the truck. That's the trailer.
I can only put it so many places.
Right.
Like,
So it's typically when you get a booking, it includes you saying the duration of the
so we're
time. It's not a drop off and see you.
No. Yeah, we're working it, or our crew's working it. And for the first 5 years, it was Travis or I, plus employees and every single event. We've got a point now where we've got to get a crew in place for us. But
There's enough bookings to support a crew.
So, I guess I told you before we started this, we'd always be an open book and transparent. We started with a bunch of young females as our cigar cutters, lighters. Basically our model was going to be, if you were in a bar, what would you expect?
Yeah.
Right? This is, we're always going to fight the battle of, I can get this same cigar for $5 and try $10. Well, yeah, you can also go to a gas station, buy a 30-pack,
Right.
add $1 of beer versus, go pay $5.
Yeah.
Right?
You just went to. Here we're trying to provide an experience.
Yeah.
And somebody hired us to do this.
Yep.
And it's where you're at, right? So I mean,
you don't have to bring your cigars. You don't have to.
it's a lot. It's huge. Convenience. Right.
So we started out with, I would say, the majority of our young ladies that work for us were probably 22 to 25. And you can imagine with that demographic, when we're working events, we had at one point probably a crew of 30 different young ladies that were on our roster that were booking events because last minute they're not going to show up or they're.
Or if we're going to Tyler versus Coaches versus Home,
thankfully, we've gotten to the point, we've got a really good partner that we work with, Julie Freeman, modeling agency, which I had worked with in the past, 3 Ducks Limited, and a lot of volunteer, Inside Duck. They're the ones that will show up, sell raffle tickets.
For sure.
And it's been so great working with her because Travis and I, that used to be one of the biggest things we had was making sure we had staff present. And if somebody cancels last minute, like, how do you, if we're at a derby party, how do you get someone there in 45 minutes?
Derby time.
Right? That just doesn't, it's not possible. So, working with Julie's been great because we tell her what we've got, and then we don't think about it again. She has, and she has a core group that works for us regularly, but if they can't show up, she backfills it. She's
got a lot of that. And then they know the state before they get there.
Absolutely. So that's something that, one of your earlier shows, they were talking about, here at Humidor, they like bringing in stuff that you can't just walk in your average tobacco shop and find. They want the more obscure sticks, and that's something that we really tried to do in the shop because we didn't want it to be
just a ton of big names. We got boutique. We got some of the big names for those that die hard, purists or whatever that want the big names. But then we have the boutique stuff that we've been able to bring around and get familiar with.
Introduce people to.
And it's all about the experience and what Cole and I both love is telling a story about it. So if you can tell a story to somebody about a certain cigar, so I'm actually smoking the Mix Ligerda by Dumbarton Tobacco Trust right now. So I actually just told Cole not too long ago what it stands for. And for those not familiar, it's my mistress's mistress.
Oh, okay.
And so, in... Do we need to edit that? No. But so, in certain parts of the world, those names are common. My mistress doesn't even know about this one. A mistress is common for some of the cultures. And so this cigar is designed for, nobody else knows this little jewel, this little gem. And so having a story like that, you have a bunch of bachelors in, and you start telling the story, and they're like, oh, yeah, give me some of those. And so, or Deadwood Tobacco is another one that has a great storyline. Caldwell. There's tons of them out there that have great stories that you start talking about, and people start having a connection with it, or start falling in love with that story and the history of it. Same with bourbon, same with any of the spirits. If you start telling them about that's why the sourcing of the grains and the sourcing of the water is so important, is because it gives that nuance, that difference, that story, and bringing that to the cigar world for those consumers, they connect to it and they like it.
Right. Oh, 100%. So what does a booking look like? So you've got a website. Obviously, after we get this posted, we'll attach it to the post. But you do the booking side of things.
So a lot of times people are going to they're going to send a request on our website, or they're going to make a phone call. It's going to come to me, and it's going to be, hey, I want to book you for an event. Great, tell me about it. It's not, this is what we cost. It's, tell me about your event, what your vision is for the event, and then let's see if we can make something work. And as Travis mentioned earlier, a lot of times it's like, oh, we want the restaurant. Okay, well, cool. You have room for 31 feet plus the truck. Is there an interest in your backyard? You have HOA limitations. So we talk through logistics, but outside of that, it's
5 years of experience helps with that, right? 6 years,
Absolutely. But outside of that, it's more about, hey, what's your vision for this event? What's it about? Is this a 50th birthday? Is this for someone who's a doc or a cigar smoker, or is this someone that they just want to celebrate their 50th? They smoke once or twice a year or once in their life. That background allows us to curate an event that's going to be perfect for that person. And man, it's great. We love doing what we're doing. I mean, this is really Travis and I.
To smoke cigars and drink bourbon for your part-time job, it's so hard. Like, how many of us really get to go out there?
Right.
I mean, a few of us get to actually have this kind of luxury as our side hustle or as our second job, whatever you want to call it, where we can go out there and enjoy our passions with other people and get paid for it.
Right.
So my background is insurance. I'm a third generation insurance agency in Longview, down in Tyler, and Hallsville. And you imagine if you're trapped on an elevator and somebody's like, "Oh, I'm an insurance agent," like, you're gonna back up against the corner. I don't want to talk to an insurance agent, right? That's pretty normal. And
Not really. We go to the insurance agent a lot.
no, and Colin is great.
Yeah,
He
Colin's
is-
great.
He is an awesome dude.
Fun guy.
Yes. He's part of the younger regime, and I would say most of us.
But it's second generation too.
Yeah. And I think most of us that are our age in the industry, we have learned to relate to people and talk to people. And yes, we're still going to use the same risk managers, but we're going to do it in a way that's less, dry.
Right.
We're going to make that personal relationship. So, all of that aside, we are also one of the hardest insurance lines that we've ever seen.
100%. Especially here in Texas.
Yes. So the majority of our normal job is butt shootings, unfortunately.
Rough.
And it's even if we're a year ago, even if we're showing up on set today, it's usually hard and tragic. It's just us or houses. So this event, or this business, I should say, is all about celebration. And it is such for me, an enjoyable transition from my normal day-to-day to be able to come, provide happiness and joy to people. And we have done everything from birthday parties, bachelor parties, to wedding anniversaries. I mean, we've done it all, and every single one, it's so special. Just making those personal connections and being a part of that, we love it.
So what do bookings look like as far as, what's the range look like for somebody who's considering having Smoking Aces come out? What is it? So what does the experience look like?
Yeah, so we have recently added we've always had a bar set because the Airstream wouldn't fit everywhere, right? So our cocktail setup is where we come out, be in the backyard, or be at a business and set up cocktail tables, a little bar. That's $1,500 setup. We've now added an inflatable bar to that because a lot of times they don't have room for the Airstream.
Right.
But we can do one of our inflatable bars and still makes that cool presence. We've got tablecloths in just about every color you can imagine. So that's something else we talk to our customers about. Is color theme for today? Are we going with black and gold, just a nice fantasy feel, or is this something that we want, bright blue, bright orange? We've got a regular event that we do over here at Tyler for one of our customers that the company's colors are bright blue, bright orange, and we've got
Customized.
we've customized it to them. But so if we bring the Airstream, it's $2,500. And then with either one of those packages, we have travel coming outside of Tyler. That's kind of our range. It's Tyler to Shreveport. Anything in that hour window, no big deal. Once we go outside of that, we're gonna do some travel fees. Yeah, absolutely. But each one of those includes 100 custom cigars. So since the majority of the events we're doing are for a business or for a celebration, we'll do the company logo on there, or we'll do. We've done some pretty entertaining,
Pretty fun.
free mustache rides for
a
bachelor party one time.
The Sasquatch, or whatever was the nickname. We've done entry into the Texas Football Hall of Fame. That we sent some down to Young.
Vince Young, when he got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, we did his things. And the other one was you were talking about Randy Swisher. His name, he played for University of Houston, and he was just a big. His name was Sasquatch. So we did his birthday one year.
That's awesome. So
Corporate
you give
events,
corporate
corporate cigar.
customized events to people that you're you're getting an experience for what you're doing, and then one of you two guys are there to make sure that everything's followed through. You get staff, right? A couple folks that are going to be helping out, cutting, and helping with setups or cocktails or whatever.
So just like any kind of establishment, all our staffs can be trained in the basics of cigars and flavor profiles and things of that nature.
We got equipment. We got equipment now.
That's right. That's right. But if somebody has an in-depth question, Travis or I or our buddy Doug we're going to be the ones answering the more specific questions.
Gotcha.
But yeah, everyone on our team is pretty well versed in all the different types of tobacco and flavor profiles.
Yeah.
And so if somebody comes in, and they say, hey, look, this is what I'm drinking tonight.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, pick these two for that. This is what I like to smoke. They're going to have a recommendation for it. Or somebody comes in and says, look, I haven't smoked in 10 years. And the last cigar I had was roll around in my buddy's back seat for about 5 days.
I was green for 2 days after it.
Yeah. It was funny. We didn't have to do that in a long time. We did it when we first started this, the cigars were just kind of getting back off the ground. We used to keep sugar cubes.
So, for those not familiar, nicotine gets into the system, and that's what causes you to become green if you haven't eaten enough or drank enough sugar throughout the day. Sugar will actually go into the system and counteract the nicotine effects.
Interesting.
And so
Never heard that.
if you start getting a really just super bold, strong cigar, triple hero, something with just through the roof nicotine,
Your blood sugar drops.
and you didn't eat lunch because you were slam packed busy with work and everything else, and you're like, oh man, this is, even the regular cigar smokers can sometimes go, wow, this one took me off guard.
Yeah.
We would have sugar cubes, and we bring those out and say, hey man, chew on this,
Have
or
one of these.
go grab an orange juice or apple juice from the bar,
Yeah.
and it'll turn it around, counteract that, and you'll be right as rain.
Yeah.
And so those individuals that were like, oh man, I hadn't smoked in 10, 15 years, I used to always get sick, and you're like, well, look, the underaged cigars or the cheaper quality cigars, those are going to have some of the effects that are less than pleasant.
Yeah.
And or these super strong, we'll steer you away from those. We ask when somebody picks one and they're like, oh, that one looks cool, you're like, well, did you eat lunch today?
Yeah.
And they start thinking, oh, well, it's going to make me sick. You're like, well, no, I'm just making sure that you're prepared for the one that you're pointing at.
Right.
Or we will consultate and talk to them
Over
about
here in the humidor,
Yeah.
they've got the
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah. Oh,
Southern
yeah.
Draw, Jacob's Ladder, Triple Hero, Austin company from Southern Draw, veteran owned and operated, great company, love their stuff. We've actually done a pairing with them and Brimstone Balcones. And it is we had to find something that was strong enough to stand up against
Right.
the Triple Hero, Jacob's Ladder.
Brimstone is
and
it.
they Southern Draw actually took their Triple Hero, Jacob's Ladder, and upped it with a Brimstone edition.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we paired the Brimstones together from Texas, and it was at Outlaws. And was that the same night that the magazine came? And we had a ton of fun that night, but it was definitely eye opening, and people needed a few sugar cubes that night.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So talking more about our events, Travis over here is actually an excellent chef. He will not tell you that. But we donate our events to fundraisers, and so we do a lot of dinners that we'll do, and we'll say, hey, look, we'll do a dinner pairing for 12 people. It's all the food, the spirits, and cigars. We'll do a pairing. And Travis will kind of curate it, and then him and my wife will cook it, and Katie will come in and help us kind of facilitate the event, and then I'll do kind of like we do the Purpose Society, where Travis will come out,
Yeah,
present
orchestrate
a dish,
it,
he'll present a dish, and then I'll history of the spirit, and then when we get the cigars, I'll talk through the cigars, and I can do the front of the house, he does the back of the house. But man, I tell you, that has been so rewarding. I mean, we've typically when we donate one of those dinners, it's raising around $5,000,
Yeah.
and everyone who buys it when we leave that night, they're always like, oh man, we've been on a lot of dinners, but it's far, far exceeded our expectations. And it's so rewarding to be able to do that. But yeah, he's an excellent chef too. He won't talk about it, but he is.
Well, he loves rum too.
Yeah.
He introduced me to Foursquare.
Foursquare.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
never
Had it before. We were in Austin.
hanging out
Yeah.
with after
After the still.
and I've never had it. It's like, oh, you gotta try it. Like, I don't get another passion. It's so good.
Slippery slope.
Yeah, it is very, very good. All right, so what does the future look like? I mean, you're, obviously these events are probably on the weekends, which is you kind of probably maybe have to alternate some of those events or kind of like share each other's calendars type of thing. You go, hey, look, I'm not available these weekends. I'm not available these weekends.
Yeah, I think the goal for any business is the same. You get a business, we've been doing this a long time. You get a business, you create processes, you train the people that you to be able to fulfill the vision of telling the story, creating experiences. One of the big things that we just tell all our people is, it doesn't matter if it's a birthday party or a bachelor party or like, this is what is in our contract. We're going to do what's in our contract. We're going to hold our end of the bargain. That's the bare minimum. Anything outside of that, you're out of it, you can make it special for somebody. Do it. Whatever it takes. So, we do a birthday party. We don't sell alcohol or anything like that. We don't have any problems just cleaning up after people or grabbing drinks. We try and whatever that event is, make it as special as possible. Anyway, if there's a vendor there, we try to help the other vendors because we know we've
been on the bottom of the stick before.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we've done a really good job of getting people involved that are working for us, that they see that and they have a servant's heart. And as long as you got someone on the team that's willing to go the extra mile and collab, that's all it is.
Is that the future goal? Is to kind of like tentatively pass the reins to folks that are going to be on the ground? It could be the Cole and Travis at these events, and then you guys kind of monitor for quality, get feedback.
Yes, the vision is for Travis and I to show up and for us not to have been the person that pulls the trailer there, done setup there, and we pop in, shake hands, kiss babies, make sure everyone's doing their job properly.
If it's something you want to be involved in, you're involved in.
We're there. If it's something that we're not really able to make it to because of our own personal lives or whatever, we know that it's handled, and if we have a question, we can just call or text and we can say, hey, this is the story on that cigar, or this is what I would pair with that.
Right.
If we've got,
But you could do some pre-work to kind of give them a template of what it could pair well with, food-wise, drink-wise, and if you could put your knowledge to work on the template that gives kind of an idea to your customer.
as Cole was mentioned earlier about the tailgate setup, or we've got a inflatable that's another party tent that we do now. Even the Airstream, I try to have them set up a process. So you know, okay, far left is going to be your least expensive, it's going to be your mildest, or whatever concept is for that particular setup is, hey, you go far left for mild, you go stronger as you go over, or you got your flavored ones over here that are bourbon infused, or you got your premiums over here, giving them some sort of template so they know where to go for whatever the customer is coming into asking for.
What kind of timeline do you think it's going to be?
I think we're close.
Within a year?
Yeah, within a year, for sure. One thing that's self-established is Travis is joined the family business, and so now with Travis and I working together in our day-to-day, it allows our schedules to align and really, unfortunately, insurance is, that's always going to be, that's our thing there, right? That's the real job there. So Travis and I are going to say, all right, who's busier, who's got the bigger commitments, and then tag the other person out. But we have learned so much over these last years, things that you wouldn't expect. Like, when we started this, we've specialized in the boutique cigars now, but when we started this, we thought, oh man, we've got to have everything somebody wants to have. Like,
We've got the whole thing. We have to.
Otherwise, we're going to get upset. If you walk into a bar and it's you're going to be pissed if you drink those, right? And so we looked up one day and we had about 50 grand in inventory.
And for a noble cigar,
It's not sustainable.
I was just about to ask about the storage, but I wanted to talk about, we already talked about like what it looks like.
Yeah.
So within your, what is like storage to me would be a challenge.
That is the biggest challenge when you're doing a mobile setup. So when we go to the menu, we run what we call coolers. So we've got our humidor running in the lounge that is a classic humidor glass style. What you expect. We've got cigars on the bar that are open that we are regularly rotating out. Have to,
But you got to store those somewhere before you get it.
exactly. So when we go to an event, and while we're at an event, all of the excess cigars for that event stay in a cooler. They stay in basically a big white ice chest that's got open packs in there, temperature control. And so that's what allows us to have on any given day probably 15,000 worth of cigars at an event, so that if people want to specifically we got it, can't put all that on display, but if somebody's like, I do want this, we have a decent score. Yeah. So, to that, we're never going to be able to do what the humidor has or tobacco junction. I don't know, but if I were to take a guess, I would say tobacco junction is too hard. So you've got to train your staff. Somebody comes in and wants this, you're able to redirect them to this is going to be in that flavor profile. So we were able to kind of take our 50 grand and back that down to probably 20 grand. And then one thing that we realized is we can also kind of do seasonal stuff. So we're running a new line, a boutique cigar. We're running this for 3 months. And then we're going to transition to a new boutique line. And this next 3 months, every event we go to, we're going to kind of push it. So people get a different experience every time they come in. But we're able to do it without having a ton of inventory backlog that we're going to run through. One thing that we also learned was, look, hey, there's got to be a shelf life on this stuff. Sure. If you have something on the move, you're not going to hold on that $10 cigar and it's like $10 for it. Like, you got to have
to figure it out, run through it. Because it's taking things to keep it at the proper humidity.
It's costing you money.
The proper humidity, proper temperature to make sure that it's around.
Yeah, so when you don't have a booking, it's stored on the
it's stored in the range.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is something we didn't talk about the range. So, do you know where my good buddy Travis went to school? Fight Texas Aggies over here. I went to SSA.
Big Aggie schools, both of us.
Yeah. So we decided a few years ago that we wanted to grow tobacco, and so we grew the first commercial tobacco in Texas in World War II. And the guys in Nacogdoches right now are doing this as well. They got this project going, but we did this years before they got going on this project, and we were talking to them about everything. But when Travis started this, we thought, look, he was saying, this is going to be easy. We were going to reach out to universities. We were going to get somebody on board that wants to see tobacco come back to life in the state of Texas.
See the ash, just like all the different bourbons and wines and everything else in the state. Let's put our Texas stamp on it that we do so well.
Everybody shops it. And they said, you can't do it. You need to be on the East Coast. You need to be. So Travis and I took a trip down to South Louisiana, and where they grow Perique tobacco. And
San Diego Fair?
You want to tell the Perique story?
So, we went down there and we had no expectations. We've never been to a tobacco plantation. We've never known anything, seen it live, we didn't know anything about it. And so Perique tobacco is a very special breed of tobacco, just like the different types of corn, different barrels of grapes. And whenever you start looking into it as a biology or scientific aspect, it has more nicotine than any other strain of tobacco. And so we were down there, and this individual paired with States, which is one of the largest tobacco cigar producers in the nation and world even. And so he does all of their Pappy Van Winkle, Freak blends, anything that has Freak in it, he is the only one that produces. And so it is bourbon barrel aged down there in South Louisiana, and he has a bunch of different farms that will actually grow it, harvest it, and dry it, and then they'll bring it to him for the fermentation process. And so we got to walk through his whole entire farm, got to see everything from whenever it first comes in, all the way to where it's ready to be shipped out to the States for the rolling process. And so it was insane, the different smells that you got to smell, the different processes you got to see, the juices that come off of these leaves as they're being fermented. And I mean, it was mind-blowing to see it in real life.
The Native Americans in that area, they used to take tree stumps and hollow them out, and then they would put their tobacco down in it, and then they would take a piece of tree that they would cut to cover it, basically, and they would put these stones on it, and they would weigh it down, and kept compressing the tobacco and ferment it to obviously make it stronger, make it more potent. And so he replicated that process, and when we walked in, it smelled like a barbecue process, which was a smell that I was not expecting. I was expecting a lot of different smells, but when you walked in, it smelled like barbecue meat, and that's what that fermented, compressed tobacco smelled like. And he had all these rubber barrels all on the walls. They were different level of press that they had been going through.
Railroad jacks that he'd get a couple of clicks on it, get even more pressure on it, you go to the next one, and it'd have a little bit, jack it down a little more, next one would still be strong, you go to the next one. And so you got to see each barrel as he was processing, as he was putting more and more pressure on it, and you'd see the different levels, and he'd open up one of the jacks, and he'd show you, hey, look, this is, X amount of time through the process, this is what the product looks like. And it was amazing.
And so we did that pretty quick after we started Cigar Village. So Travis ordered us 9 different strains of Cuban tobacco, and we planted the seeds at the ranch, and we planted them very close together so they cross-pollinated. And then year after year, now that strain of tobacco is now our own strain of tobacco, and so we have those. The Cigar Lounge will continue to be a very key piece of the business, but long term, if you're able to sell a Texas-grown tobacco to the big names, right? And this guy, keep in mind, we're talking about $50 grand for a barrel, which is approximately like an equal tobacco. We've got about 200 viable people out there that we can work with. So for us, the big goal is in the next 4 years is to get that. We grew the first tobacco. How do we now transition to a massive commercial operation to where we're producing 200 acres of tobacco? And I was blown away. Travis, he did an excellent job. He starts every year we start growing them. We have figured out that the best way to do it, which I guess that's tobacco, when everyone told us no, we finally found one guy who was a horticultural specialist, Dr. Derek Green. This guy, he got his undergrad at FSSA, and he got his doctorate in Minneapolis. And so he had a vested interest in your sugar, right? And so we reached out to him, and even he wasn't just like, we should do. This guy, he sent us 300 pages. Oh yeah, this is how you do it. And
read through it.
Yeah. So Travis and I digest this. We're separately reading 300 pages over and over and over. And we call each other one night. I think you just treat them like tomato plants, and they're going to do all right.
Yeah, that's what I got.
And so we called there like, hey, this is basically what we got for 300 pages.
Condensed into one paragraph.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, that's right.
I just want to make sure that you're committed to this before, because I know you keep calling me and asking me questions. What did you ask? No, he was very nice. We did find it entertaining that he gave us 3 pages just telling us, hey, treat it like tomato plant, it'll be all right.
Super heavy nitrogen figures, and you got to top them all, get them to grow real great. I mean, we've got 6 foot tall plants. Cole actually has in his office one of the first leaves that we harvested. We've got it pinned, and it's a reminder every day that there's that level of awesomeness still just waiting to come out. So
There's definitely seeds and future project for smoke bases, right?
sure.
I love that sure.
And then being able to do a rolling class. We talk about incorporating that with small courses, small classes. Get the guys out that love to smoke cigars. Because there's something special about the bottle that you fill yourself, a cigar that you roll yourself. Everybody has that love of cooking on a grill, and that steak that you cook is the best steak that you can have. And so you incorporate all that together, and you sit back and you, after your meal, you sit and smoke a cigar that you roll. It's just incredibly different than just going on the store.
I've done it a couple times down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a different experience when you're back home.
Exactly.
And just like you said, just like barrel fill, bottle, barrel, same with wine. Go and almost the press process. Yeah, once you get it invested, it's done.
Totally different, yeah.
Big fan. Very cool. I've really enjoyed this time. We created a lot of content. You guys are well spoken, and you guys know what you're doing. I love the experience. I haven't been able to experience it. I need to come to either a Urban Society meeting where you guys are well at that, or get involved with the event you guys are doing, whether that's nonprofit or whatever. Love what you're doing, though. I mean, it's you guys are passionate about what you're doing, you're committed, and it sounds like we're going to keep on growing and doing some fun stuff. Now, I like, if you listen to my podcast, I like to end the podcast with shout-outs. And I didn't prep you for this, but I don't think that needs to be prepped. It's going to be, you've already dropped a bunch of names. You've got family, you've got folks that are supporting you. But if there's anybody else you want to appreciate, now's the time to do it. I mean, obviously, your wives have to deal with it too.
First and foremost, it has to be our wives, because every project Travis and I have done, even though
Maybe not at the beginning, but after they come around to it, 100%.
they might have been frustrated with it, but it never stopped them from supporting us. And I think every successful business owner or man, there is a counterpart at home that is helping pushing, and
Believing.
for Travis and I, we both have strong independent women who have their own careers. And so for women like that to support our vision, it's not like, hey, I'm going to be the housewife and you go be the breadwinner. They both have their own careers, and
Drop the hat, they're both rolling their sleeves up, jumping in the trenches. Anything and everything they can do to help us, they're there 110%.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
Big shout out to my father-in-law, because it seems like every time we have a problem, we call Harold, and he's always there when we need him, and he's become a cigar guy.
Yeah. That is probably one of the other things that I don't think we can really hit on is the amount of people through our journey that come in with somebody that is a cigar smoker occasionally or regular or whatever, and they're like, oh, no, we're not really interested in cigar. I'm not really interested in cigar. I'm just here with them. And being able to offer them a cigar that fits their palate or their process that they go through, and seeing the light bulb of, oh, well, this isn't just a grandpa thing. This is enjoyable. This is something that I can't.
Poker club.
Yeah, this isn't something that I can rush through. I have to sit down enjoy my time with this, enjoy where we are, being in the moment. I can't just, 3 puff this, be out the door, and run off to my next endeavor. I have to sit down and enjoy this and be with the people that we're with. It's something that I think Paul and I both enjoy, seeing that person experience that pause. Being with us, being slowed down, having to just sit there and go, this is relaxed. This is worth it. This is something that I could really get into.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very cool.
We appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it is.
Tell our story.
Yeah, I love it. I know we kind of did like a quick sub, but I appreciate you guys' flexibility. Thanks for coming on. Great story. I love it. It reminds me of a couple other stories we had here in town. We had the Texas State of Mind coffee guys. And man, it's such a great story. It's something that a lot of people don't know about Tyler. And in the surrounding areas that we've got the coffee of Texas in our backyard. We've got to enjoy it. You guys have a great mobile opportunity that a lot of people probably don't think about. Think about, these events and landmark, kind of things that they're having. I mean, they need to think about this and these experiences because I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm not a big thing person. I'm more of an experienced person. And I think people need to think about these things whenever they're having these landmark and also.
There's one other story I want to tell.
Okay, go ahead.
So, everyone that books us obviously allows us to donate these events to nonprofits, right? One that Travis and I are very passionate about. I was actually on the original board for Combat Warriors of Texas when there was 10 of us and we were begging for money. Nobody wanted to be a part of it, and we were having to claw tooth and nail to get every single dollar. And now it's 100 people wrong and waiting to just be a volunteer at the event. It's turned into this awesome deal. You're not familiar with it. We bring in veterans to East Texas, train to a mind. When we first started this, it was simply, you're having to pay for your flights. Now, by the time I rolled off, it was a private jet going to Gray County. All the gamers were there, the troopers were there. There was this 100-car procession that would bring them through all the schools would be out. So Travis and I, after our roll off the board, I still want to be part of it in some capacity. So we came up with an idea that we would surprise the guys each year. It's new guys they don't know. Whoever kills the first year of the hunt, they get to go on a special line next. We won't tell them this. And so, they're already on the cloud nine because you get surprises. Guys, military guys, you would think they grew up hunting. That's not the case for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So if they shoot this 14-point buck, they are shaking. Nervous to take the shot, ecstatic after the shot, they're well done. So the next day, you're the first one to get killed, you're going to go on a special line, we bring them to the ranch, we take them on a side-by-side to the back of the 300 acres, and then we got our air machine camered up, we take the windows off from the back, and off one end, we've got a deer feeder, for the deer to come in, and then we have a big open field that we make pigs. And these guys walk in, and you can imagine, like, what is this? You're pulling up a Ranger, and then the camo airstream as they're walking in, we got music playing, and you can't hear them outside. There's a good-looking bartender in there, cigars, drinks. We already have, the gun set up at both ends. They are, what in the world is going on? And the very first year we did this, we didn't really know we were going to kill anything because, again, everything we do is not the experience. We shot a deer out one end, we shot 3 pigs out the other, and these guys had an absolute blast. You couldn't stop talking about it. Continue year after year. It's been amazing fun. But to this day, this is one of the most fun things we do. And we could not do that if people didn't book us, if people didn't input money into the company, but we
That's our passion. Just give back in East Texas. Learn to do something like that. It is absolutely so much fun.
Now it's got to the point where we'll do that on a Saturday morning. Hunt Friday, then on Saturday morning, and we'll take a duck hunting. And our duck one is all into the same thing. It's kind of started out as
we do breakfast out there, we do bars.
Oh yeah.
Duck flying if you're familiar, you don't have to be flying like you do with deer and hog, and so everybody gets to kind of cut up, tell their war stories, and to be able to experience those stories from these guys is just insane. How they're fighting for our country, and hearing their stories and some of the close calls that they're danger close on, and you really sit back and you're thankful for the ability to be able to give back to those guys that are out there fighting.
Yeah, we've had a couple vets on already. Both of them had, moments where they had to pause. They're kind of collect themselves.
Yeah.
And then both of them talked about dark times that where, they needed somebody to reach out.
Exactly.
And maybe they reached out at the right time. Or maybe they had somebody, and it could have been a small interaction too. Both of them had small interactions at their lowest time. And those small interactions turned safe, and both of them are doing awesome. So, I mean, again, love what you guys do. It sounds like you're having fun doing it too. And staff's having fun, and the folks that get to experience that have fun. I mean, I wish you the best. I hope that you stay booked. Your tobacco farm explodes. I can't wait to go out there and roll a cigar. So please keep in mind whenever you guys get that started. And definitely want to do this.
We should get together with all the previous podcast members. We've done cigars and coffee before. We've done
on-site Spirit Squared. That would be fun.
Yeah, get it together. We'd love to do something.
Cool. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Really
Thanks
appreciate
for having
you
us.
guys' time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
All right. So that concludes our podcast with the Smoking Aces. It was so fun having you guys on. And so we've got 3 podcasts in November. Our next guest is next week, so we've got one coming pretty quick. We're going to talk about political analysis, which is something we don't typically do, but we had a pretty big election last night. A lot of results came through. Depending on what side you're on, it was either a really good night or it was a really rough night. So looking forward to talking about some of the results and some of the things that are going to be rolling out here in the next couple weeks. So I look forward to having you guys come back to us soon. Thanks.